Hola, muchachos. You are listening to English Made Simple. This is episode 21, número 21. Hey everyone, my name is Milena. Welcome. This is episode 21 of English Made Simple. Wow. I wish I was 21 again. Yeah, right. In your dreams, Milena. In your dreams. Welcome, guys. In this episode, we're going to learn to speak English while practicing for IELTS. What is IELTS? IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and it tests you on 4 skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And in this episode, we will talk about the speaking part specifically. Just so you know, this episode is not only intended for people who are doing the exams, it is also intended for people who want to practice speaking English. So just for those of you who are joining in, who are new to this show, you can go back to episode 13 or 14, número 13 y 14. You can find out a little bit more about IELTS and TOEFL exams. Before we begin, a special hello to Carlos from Peru. Hola, Carlos. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Good luck for your IELTS exam, mate. All the best. Hope it goes well. By the way, mate is an Australian slang from Australia to say amigo or buddy. So good luck, buddy. And to other listeners out there who are getting ready for IELTS, you can go to englishmadesimple.net, my website, englishmadesimple.net. You can download a free eBook that will help you with your exam preparation. You can avoid some common mistakes made by Spanish speakers when learning English. That's going to help you with your exam. Right, I'm going to put a link in the description of this episode. Here's an interesting fact, guys. I would rather go to the dentist than do the IELTS exam. Es verdad. I don't like exams and I don't like going to the dentist. I don't like exams in general, and as a matter of fact, I have never met anyone who was excited to sit an exam. Do you know of anyone like that? Do you have a friend who is excited to do an exam? But because we have to do these exams, if you are going overseas to live in an English-speaking country, or if you're studying overseas in Australia, UK, US, it's a requirement to do an English exam, to sit an English exam, because they want to test your English skills. So we have to prepare for it. Did you know there is one good thing about doing IELTS? It gets you ready to speak. It forces you to speak English. That's the good news. It forces you. You have to speak English. So what happens with the speaking part of IELTS? The speaking part of IELTS, you are sitting in a room with another person, with an examiner, who is asking you questions. It's an interview-based test. It's like going to a job interview, entrevista laboral. It's like going to a job interview. So they're asking you a question, you're replying. The questions they ask you are something to do with everyday topics, general topics. And in this episode, I will tell you how you can prepare for the speaking part of the exam and build confidence at the same time. I will also give you an example question so that you are aware what kind of questions they could ask you. What are the potential questions for this exam? First of all, what do they mark you on in the speaking part? They mark you on pronunciation, fluency, and vocabulary. They mark you on grammar and accuracy and comprehension. If you don't understand a question, you can always tell them, sorry, can you please repeat that? So just so you know, you're allowed to ask them a question as well. What you also need to be aware of is they mark you on the grammar. So for example, do you only use the present tense for the whole test, or are you able to correctly use the past tense, present perfect, and future tense? How well is your grammar? Radio. So this is basically what they mark you on. Now, here is what you need to do to prepare for the speaking part of IELTS. And here's what you need to do when you are learning to speak English, okay? First thing you can do, go to British Council website, the IELTS website. I'm going to put a link on my website. I'm going to put a link in the transcription of this episode to British Council IELTS website. Find some practice questions. There will be quite a few questions to select from, so pick one, select one question. Then take your phone and record yourself, gravar tu voz. You will be surprised how nervous you will be just because you're recording yourself. The idea is to make yourself uncomfortable. Get yourself out of the comfort zone. This is how we build confidence. And you will get better at speaking English because you will be uncomfortable and you have to think about your answers. Find out some new words that you can use when you're answering questions, and that's very important. And if you have to repeat answers as many times as necessary, then that's awesome because you will remember those words. Radio, that's my main recommendation for the speaking part. Go online, find a question, take your phone, and answer those questions while you're recording yourself. That's what I've been doing with my students, and one of the students went from 6 to 8. 9 is the highest mark you can get. We recorded maybe 20 sessions until my student was comfortable, was feeling confident. Because that's the idea. When you go and do the interview, when you're actually speaking to the examiner, you want to feel confident. And when you feel confident, even though you make slight mistakes, the examiner won't notice because you feel comfortable. You are comfortable and you're confident. And somehow it helps your pronunciation as well when you're confident. So what are some topics that you need to be aware of, that you need to practice for? The speaking part of IELTS, usually they ask you to describe somebody, a teacher or an actor, a family member. They could ask you to describe a favorite city or a city you live in, an interesting holiday you went to, you've been to. Describe an interesting item that you bought. A device could be a phone. You could talk about your phone, okay? So you need to be ready to describe things and people. You need to learn the vocabulary that describes people, things, cities, experiences as well, okay? So, for example, they could ask you to describe your favorite teacher, okay? My favorite teacher is Mr. Iglesias, and Mr. Iglesias is a good person. Okay, this is a very simple sentence, and we need to expand on that. We need to find more descriptive words. Descriptive words are adjectives, so we need to find out the synonyms of the word good. One way to do that is go online or go to Well and Inteligente, Cambridge Dictionary. Go online and type in the word good in the dictionary and see what synonyms or similar words come up. What do you get? What results do you get when you search for the word good? Another way to answer this question is you can try to answer this question in your own language. So, how would you describe your favorite teacher in your own language? I just want to make you aware. I want you to realize that there is more than one word to describe someone. So we're not just going to say, my teacher is a good person. Even in your own language, you're going to use more than one word to describe someone. So first try to answer it in your own language, then try to answer it in English. Try to find out more words to describe someone in English. Okay? Excellent. I hope this is helpful so far. I actually want to give you more tips for your speaking part of IELTS. Listen to the question carefully. Get familiar with the question. Does it start with what, why, who, which? Most of the questions, they start with these type of words. Listen for some keywords as well. Does it say education, city, family member, and so on? It will give you a clue how you can answer the question. You can also get a question that you think, well, I don't have a favorite movie. I have never been to a museum before, so I don't know how to describe a museum. The great thing about IELTS is that you can lie, mentir. The interviewer doesn't know who you are, he or she doesn't know anything about you. All they want to do is just listen to your English. They want to mark you on your English. So make things up. Make it up, just invent an answer. That's a good thing about IELTS. You can make it up. You can also be honest. And you can say to the interviewer, well, to be honest, I have never visited a museum before, but I have a friend who loves going to the museums, and she said there is a really good museum in Santiago called Pablo Neruda Museum. It's about a poet from Chile who won a number of awards for his work. Okay? You can answer it like that. As long as you are speaking fluently, as long as you are confident answering the question. When you reply to a question, you can give your answer and then state 1 or 2 reasons. Why? Why is your teacher a good person? You need to give a reason. My teacher was very inspirational. When I was in high school, my high school teacher, Mr. Iglesias, was very inspirational. That's why I have decided to study computer science, because of my teacher. That's the reason. My final tip is, if you want a high score in IELTS, use phrasal verbs and collocations. Use them correctly. It will increase your score here. And try not to speak slang. Don't say yeah, say yes if you need to answer with a yes or a no. Say yes, don't say yeah or nah. Okay? One more thing, guys, to remember is keep it simple. Speak at your own pace. Don't rush it. Don't speak too fast. Just slow down a little bit. It can happen when you're nervous. You want to speak fast. You want to say so many things. I know this episode is for people doing the IELTS exam, but this is also good for people who are preparing for job interviews or giving presentations in English. Do the same exercise as if you were preparing for IELTS, the speaking part of IELTS. As I said before, I guess that's one good thing about IELTS. It forces you to speak in English, and you have to speak in English, right? And this is one way to prepare for job interviews and presentations. Don't be disappointed if you don't get the score you need. There is another chance to do it. It's not the end of the world, guys. Don't give up. The first time I saw an IELTS question to describe my city, I struggled a bit to answer this question because it's something I don't talk about every day. I don't talk to my friends and describe Melbourne, for example. But if somebody asks me to describe Melbourne, I have to stop and think, okay, what can I say about Melbourne? This is why even the native speakers have to prepare for IELTS. If they ever had to do IELTS, they also have to prepare. So that was the first part of IELTS. The IELTS starts off easier, first part and the second. And the third part of IELTS speaking is about you giving opinion. So I'm going to cover this in the next episode, how you can give an opinion about certain topics. And that's the last part of IELTS speaking. The whole test is 20 minutes long. Guys, if you find this episode useful, please share it with your friends. Again, good luck for your IELTS exam. Let me know if you have any questions. All the best, and until next time, I'll try to include more stuff about collocations and phrasal verbs. This will be really helpful for your English exams. But it's also useful for anyone who is learning to speak English. This is how native speakers speak. They speak with phrasal verbs. Good luck, everyone. Talk to you soon.